Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Raiders of the Lost Flicks Live. I am your host, the Groovinator, a.k.a. Adam, owner and operator of raidersofthelostflicks.com. Remember, if it's a bad movie, we want to know about it, and I am here to introduce my panel of awesome, tacular guests in no particular order. First but not last, the professor himself, Mr. Flair X.
Evening all. Thank you for coming and showing up.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Last but not least, from the world-class bullshitters, Big Money, Nicotam.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Ready to discuss the mid-season episode of the Expanse. I think it's a mid-season. I hope it's a mid-season.
Dude, it's on episode 5. This is a 10 episode season. We are already halfway through it. Can you believe it?
Well, so wait,
Can you believe we're already there? We're already halfway through.
Damn, dude, they're not doing 13. That's weird, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
I think it's 10. Let me double check so to make sure I'm not wrong, because I'm sure the audience will let us know if we screw it up. But
hey, man, you know what? It's fine. It's whatever.
I want to thank everybody that's been giving us the overwhelming warm response to our latest Expanse videos. I'm glad that we're covering this content. We enjoy talking about this show. Not a lot of people are talking about it. They're too busy talking about The Mandalorian or Wonder Woman 1984 or whatever. And, enough people are covering that. I'd rather do the Expanse. You know what I mean? It's like more people have to do this. So
yeah, and it's gonna be funny where in like 3 years people are like, oh, have you seen the Expanse? It's like, yeah, we watched it all. I know everything.
we are there. We are definitely doing.
Watched every episode, read every book, and own a T-shirt about it. Shut up.
Speaking of T-shirt and items you can buy, here's the wonderful art book. Okay.
The art book is in the description this time. I made sure I put it back in.
All right, so that's in there. Make sure you get it.
Do you want me to break out my art book too now? Damn you, man!
I hate you guys. Me to buy it. I hate you guys so much. Right
also phone cases as well. So help Adam out by using the Amazon affiliate code in the description and buying some Expanse stuff. Show your love for the show.
Or if you're feeling particularly generous and you want to, buy the art book and then send it to me, that's okay too. I see me in private. I'll hook you up with some place to send it to. Don't worry.
I think he's on his wish list. You can buy it for him.
So I'm going to show you this is the fandom wiki right now.
All right,
just so we know where we're at, and as we can see, let me magnify this a little bit so you can see what the hell we're looking at. 10 episods, guys.
Damn, man,
we're halfway already. What the hell? It's raced by.
I think we've had 13 episode seasons before this, and we're kind of used to that.
We did. So it slowed down. I think once it started going to Amazon, they started going with the 10 episode format.
Yeah, true. Which I mean, it's fine. It's Amazon. I mean, you can see the difference in Sci-Fi versus Amazon in the way they're doing things. So I mean, I'm not mad at that. It's fine.
Yes, the F-bomb quota has gone way up.
But you know what? Sadly, there's no Christian F-bombs in this one. I was waiting for them. I was sad to not get them, but that's okay. Not everyone can have the Christian swear quota. But no, in this one, we literally open up with Drummer's Faction. They actually call it Drummer's Faction now. I'm like,
Drummer's Faction.
It's awesome. So,
yeah.
Drummer's Faction is they're watching the news of Marco Inaros announcing to the entire universe that the universe that we know, our solar system anyway, that he hurled all of these asteroids towards random targets on Earth. And it's made a big impact, and he's letting them know that, hey, I've got the guns. Don't fuck with us. You guys are going to know that we exist in so many words. So,
yeah, pretty much. He's real. He's trying to take one. Not only take one for the team. He's trying to make sure the Belters are heard and they will forever be heard and things like that. So it's he's doing what extremists do, man.
Also, we're seeing what drummers.
You know what? He does live up to the old axiom. One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist.
That's very true. That's very, very true. It's interesting, and like we're still, this was a good episode, but it's still like nothing really happened, and I wanted to see, like, things start to go. I guess things are slowly going into motion of like what's happening.
There was so much in the last episode. This one was like a little bit of a slowdown. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
and there was a lot more Amos, which I'm always happy about. So
that's what we'll get into, and we're gonna probably focus our attention on Amos, but
and there was a whole lot of Amos F-bombs.
we're going to get to the Amos part first. But yeah, the significance of showing us Drummer's fleet is that they've received the news. They've also got a notice from Inaros. Inaros wants to meet with Drummer's faction, and they accept.
Yep.
So that's really the significance of even showing Drummer for the brief moment that we get with her in this episode. Then we move on to Amos, who is, as we saw in the last episode, was stuck at the bottom of a maximum security prison with literally the ceiling caving in on them. And can we just get out of the way right now? Amos's naming convention is perfect. Okay, from here on out, if Amos comes up with a nickname for somebody, that's who we're gonna call the character from now on, because it's so much easier to remember whatever nickname he makes up for a character, as opposed to Clarissa Mao. He calls her Peaches, so from now on, we're gonna call her Peaches.
Exactly, and it's oh god.
I love it.
It's funny, because like we meet we met the big guy
Tiny.
for a brief second, Tiny, sorry, for a brief second in the previous episode, like when he was walking by him, but he just calls he immediately just calls him Tiny.
Calls him Tiny multiple times in this episode, and I'm gonna pull up this guy's profile picture here, so. Because I want to show what this guy looks like.
Well, he's tiny in the
fucking Yeti.
The Samoan tiny.
Very true. Very, very true. Yeah, that's basically how it works. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious though, because he keeps calling him Tiny, and the guy's like, "Don't call me Tiny."
Here we go. Here's Boomer Phillips's Twitter account right here. I'm gonna go ahead and magnify this.
Voice that he has.
Well, also, Boomer Phillips was also in another show where they seem to be catching some people from Letterkenny. If you don't know what Letterkenny is a Canadian comedy that's on Hulu right now.
You're missing out.
You're terribly missing out. It's funny as hell. Like, it's a really funny show, because we had one in season 4. It was what is it? Jess Salguero, I think was her name. I'm going to butcher it. I know
that's
I am.
the first name we butchered of the night. You guys can keep a tally as to how many names we butchered.
She was Chandra Wee. She was the one banging Amos on the new Terra planet. She was also from Letterkenny. I think one of the seasons where they had the female hockey players. So
Kara G was actually in Letterkenny for a brief moment too. So at some point we're going to see all the Letterkenny alumni.
She was in there for like an episode or two for sure.
Into the Expanse, but
you know what?
Yeah, so this Yeti here.
Well, what would you love, Professor?
Just for shits and giggles, the Firefly to fly through and the Rocinante to shoot it down.
I want the Rocinante at some point in the next season to run across some pirates, or at least interact with these guys in a station. Like the entire Letterkenny crew, like just the main 4 dudes and the sister, just them. Give me one moment with them, I will be happy. That's all I want.
You ain't right. You just
because just make them builders, have them cross in a scene, and give they give a shitty look to Holden or to Amos or whatever, and they move on. That's all I want.
All right. Sadly, this is the best picture of Tiny I can find, is the one that's on Twitter here. So, but yeah, as you can see, he is a roided out psychopathic lunatic, and you can see by his head here and everything that he's he's modded out too as well.
Oh yeah, dude.
So, I really liked their physical effects. They did not CG him. They literally built. You could tell that they built those built the scalp part. It modified it. I mean, they made him look awesome.
You know what he reminds me of is the Juggernaut from the X-Men movies, like I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
He reminded me of Bane a little bit. I was like,
he had a little bit of Bane going on, a little bit of the two. So we meet Tiny, aka Konachek, aka Boomer Phillips, and he's hitting his head on the window because one of the guards they let Amos out of the cell, and they're like, I just got a really terrible idea. Flash to Tiny. Tiny's beating his head on the frickin' door, and
Screaming about his rights.
They open the door and they got all the guns pointed at him. And he's like, "So what's new?"
Yeah, just like his nonchalant attitude of just having guns pointed at him is like, all right, man. As soon as it happened and I laughed, I was like, all right, I'm gonna like this guy. Regardless
so
of
what's new? That's great stuff. So the next scene we see is we go back to Tashi Station, and we see that Saki, I think that's what we decided that was pronounced, Saki. Yeah. Saki's a little worse for wear, all right? One of the Belter guards has been beating the shit out of her. She's got blood hanging down the side of her mouth, and she's still sitting there all smart ass and smiling. She's starting to really give me the creeps at this point.
Yeah, because she knows way more than she leads on, and she's quite smart in helping execute that plan in the last episode. So she's like the anti Naomi, and that scares me because Naomi's real smart, and if she's as smart as Naomi, we have a problem. Yeah,
she's definitely as smart as Naomi, but she's dangerous, dude. She I would not want to be in a dark alley with Saki. All right, just saying.
Nope.
Yeah.
She'd mess you up, man.
I wouldn't mind being in a dark alley with her. She's cute, but she's crazy.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So she's like two of my ex-girlfriends. That's all I'm gonna say.
Flare X, never stick your dick in crazy, man. Come on now.
Nick.
Giggity, 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 giggity. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang.
Nick, all I can say is it's too late for that advice.
Yeah.
Because holy shit, I ended up with a couple of doozies on my list.
Okay, moving along.
Moving right along.
So Holden is unable to get any information out of her, as this has been established for quite a few episodes now, that she's not going to cooperate. Now, I have to ask you guys a question. Now that we've all seen this at least once. Nick and I have seen it twice. I watched it just a few minutes before I went live here. So did Nick. At that point, the first thing, and I'm serious about this, the first thing that popped in my head is she spent a long time working on his ship. She has left some booby traps.
And that was played out in this episode.
That's exactly what happened. But I'm thinking that too, like, don't you think he was just a little apprehensive about getting on the ship and firing up and assuming that she wouldn't leave some booby traps? I mean,
yeah, and I mean that's
cavalier.
Yeah, and I mean that's Holden. That's kind of his way. I mean,
he's very trusting. Yeah.
He's not very trusting. He just when everything is falling apart around him and he wants to help and he wants to find his people and he's like literally like everybody's scattered across the system. He doesn't know what the only thing he knows how to do without having Naomi there next to him or having any of his crew next to him to kind of like talk out the idea is that he's like, I need to go on a hunt. I need to go find this asshole. That's the thing. So
he leaps. He leaps with both feet in the most idealistic way that he can.
Yeah.
And you respect that in him, but sometimes that bites him in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it almost bit him in the ass in this episode.
But I just the whole time I was watching it, because I have a tendency to talk to my TV when I'm watching this show, and only this show. I don't normally do that, but I'm like, dude, she booby trapped your ship. she booby trapped your shit. Told you, and it happens later, and we'll get to that point later when he finally finds out. But the first thing that popped into my mind, I'm like, she shot Fred Johnson in the back, and she told everybody that I actually kind of liked Fred Johnson.
Yeah, that's some psychopathic bullshit right there. Yeah, she got some problems.
She got some problems, all right. So
she must have been one of Flair X's exes.
You guys should be proud of me. I actually took notes this time, so I'm
Sorry, buddy. I had to do it.
No, it's okay. You know what? The shoe fits at certain points.
But that's they get the bright idea to, they're like, we're going to go for a little ride on the Rosinante, and we're probably thinking, oh, finally, sorry, my light's doing crazy stuff here. But he's going to borrow crew people from the station, because obviously everybody's scattered right now. So, yeah, and because that's the first thing I'm thinking of. I'm like, don't get on that ship. Don't flip any switches. That thing is going to be booby trapped as hell. And like, clearly somebody this psychopathic has thought that shit through. But we move on to other scenes. Okay.
Whatever you do, don't use the toilet.
Back at the prison, they finally figure out a way to get out of the prison by shooting a wall. Okay, and we find out that the guards' guns are ID print, like biosignature printed, so they read your only your DNA can operate the weapon, I guess is how that works. So it knows who's holding the gun, however they got that set up. I've seen that done in other science fiction before, so I understand that whole point.
Yeah. So
It's been done in this show before too. It was set up like
it was. Well, yeah. I think the first time I
Bobby
remember
Draper. Yeah, Bobby Draper grabbed a gun and didn't work. She's like, "Fuck," So yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a problem. But Amos keeps saying, "So tiny." You're gonna do this, and then he says, "I need to borrow a gun." And the guard's like, "I'm not giving you my fucking gun." And he's like, "All right, fine. I need you to shoot a hole here and there." That's just how Amos is. He's so matter of fact with everything, Shoot a couple holes. They take the panel off, and they realize that the ladder is actually behind the panels to keep people from trying to escape through the elevator shaft, which is where they're in right now.
Yeah, and the way the panels are made is that you have to keep opening them as you go up. So you have to you have to keep opening every one every like four feet, it looks like, almost. And the way that they're built is like you can't just like open one and you go all the way up through the top of it. You have to open them up because like they have a piece that's like almost cutting off the ladder from being used. And it's a weird way of doing it, but I guess it's part of the story and the thing happening, because it was.
Well, yeah, I get it, because they even said so. They're like, well, yeah, to keep people from escaping, so they put these giant panels in front of the ladder.
It's like Supermax in Colorado. They literally build.
And how would you know about Supermax in Colorado? Did you spend a little time there, Professor?
No, I have a cousin that he was a supervisor there.
Okay.
Oh.
Gotcha. Yeah, he has quite a story, but he was you can't really talk about it much because it's a Supermax prison.
It's
Gotcha.
sad that this Supermax prison has been reduced to Peaches, Tiny, Amos, and three fucking guards. That's all that's left of this Supermax prison.
Well, and we don't get all three guards do not make it.
Oh, hell no. So
Yeah.
I just want to acknowledge the chat real quick. Gaming Vulture and Manliness and Motivation. Game Vulture says, "What's up? The legend has returned. Upload another amazing stream." Thank you for that compliment. That means a lot to us. That really does.
Yeah.
Especially when you take our time from the busy holidays to come here and talk about the Expanse. But hey,
Yeah, make sure you like and comment on the video so people can find it more and everything. To help us out.
Share us around like a meme, man. Make sure everybody knows about us.
Like syphilis. Wait, no, that's different.
Share us around like a virus. Yeah. So
one of my coworkers said today, like a 2-bit whore.
So we spend most of the episode with Amos and these guards and Tiny, and the entire time Amos keeps calling him Tiny. He's like, hey, quit calling me Tiny. You should probably stop calling me that. He's just like does everything short of saying whatever, Tiny. It just keeps going on and on. At one point, they're going up this ladder and they're taking these panels off slowly by slowly. They have to go up 9 levels, and at one point, like the elevator finally breaks loose and starts coming down the elevator shaft, and they have to pull themselves close to the ladder so they don't get decapitated. And Tiny looks up and is like, "Yeah, F you, God, you missed again." The guy cracks me up. He's very funny, that Boomer Phillips guy. But as they're going up the ladder, he just casually throws one of the guards to his death. So yeah, these guards are not having a good time at all. One of them just hits the floor, and Tiny's just like, whatever. He's been bitching about his knee the whole time. He fell, you know.
Which is a likely story. It's a likely story.
It's probably a likely story because she's like pointing the gun up the tunnel, you know, and he's like, I'm going to shoot you. He's like, fuck you, come up here and get. She's like telling him to come down. He's like, no, fuck you, you come up here, you know. And as she goes up there, Tiny's like, you know, I'm more important than you right now. Because he's not wrong. I mean, who else is going to be able to pull the fucking, you know, bolts off the wall and pull the panels off? I mean, only this guy is strong enough to do it. So
yeah, I do, and it is kind of weird for Amos to not be the strongest guy or the toughest guy in the episode. So it was a little odd seeing it that way.
Especially the fact that Amos is the one that keeps calling him Tiny over.
And
And
it was hilarious because Tiny is the one who noticed that, hey, after the elevator comes down, he goes, hey, there's sunlight up there. And it's like, whoa, wait a second, what? And the guard is going, there shouldn't be sunlight there.
Yeah, that was our first clue. Eventually, they do get up to the top, and everything's gone. It's just
everything is gone. It's just all you see is rubble and the ocean.
It's ground zero. Yeah, it is. And
yeah,
of course, Tiny's laughing hysterically at this point, as Tiny would, because of course he would.
Well, as Tiny kills the one of the guards, I mean,
he just lifts him up like Darth Vader and crushes his throat.
Throw them against the lady guard.
One hand just
and then Amos tries to take on Tiny.
So now we're down to one guard, and Amos is just punching Tiny, and Tiny's just standing there like.
Yeah,
making no impact at all. I mean, Tiny's got, you know, veins and shit popping out of his chest and his arms and his face, and you know, like you guys said, he looks like Bane, like Bane meets oh god, I don't even know,
the Juggernaut.
the Bane and the Juggernaut combined. So you know, Amos is hitting this guy and getting absolutely nowhere. This guy hits Amos and he just falls down like straight.
I do like the fact that. Once Amos breaks free, he does get a ball shot in there.
Yeah, Amos is not.
He reacts.
Tiny is not indestructible. He still has a couple of probably very tiny raisins left of his junk after all of the roids and everything.
and as an homage to the wrestling, he did what? He threw it. He did the wrestling throw.
He did a total wrestling throw. He like laid back and kind of used his foot to flip him backwards. So
yeah, and God, dude, that was a good scene.
That was a good scene.
Hey Nick, wasn't it a suplex?
Yes, it was a suplex. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And you're right.
It was probably one of the best suplexes I've seen in a long time.
It was a good one because you heard Tiny go until his head like crushed against that wall and he fell on the shaft, and it was like and then like
yeah. When you hear him hitting stuff as he goes down, and you're just like yes.
I wonder if he'll come back because I mean like they shot him I think maybe 2 or 3 times in total. And he just kicked him in the nuts. I mean, like he could. I mean, I don't know how indestructible he is, or how strong he is, or how much
is. Terrified if he came back because
if his modifications, like make him more resistant to injury than normal.
That's just it. This guy is like Amos 2.0. So if he came back, like Amos would just take a back seat. I'm not saying he's better than Amos. I'm just saying that he's stronger than Amos, and it would kind of take away from. The whole time, too, Clarissa Mao, a.k.a. Peaches, which is what I'm going to call her from now on, okay? Peaches can't use her mod because she's been having all these drugs that suppress all of the effects that the mod does. So she does activate it once, but all you do is just kind of see her pupils kind of dilate a little bit. And
and as soon as she activates it, she it seems like she goes down immediately, like she can't take it or something, and it's just too much. Because I think it's the first time she's used it for a while. And,
so she uses it, and then the last guard that's alive that shot Tiny, she says, I was supposed to beat my son this weekend, and Amos just kind of looks around and looks at her and says, go find your son. I'll take care of Peaches, So I mean, clearly she doesn't have a job anyway. I mean, the place is obliterated, so
Yeah, man, it's gone.
anything could have happened, right? So she takes off, and that's how we get Peaches out of prison.
And I did find it kind of drop dead hilarious that he finds a UN flag.
And he uses that as a blanket. Yeah.
Yeah, covers her with it. It's like, oh.
Those are those little Easter eggs that we wait for, right?
Well, no, did you see the other other Easter egg with Naomi?
No, we're gonna get to the Naomi stuff here in a second.
Okay.
So I wanted to get through the prison stuff because even though the show kind of flips back and forth between, for the sake of making this stream make more sense, we're just gonna kind of get through what
Gotcha.
that whole point of seeing that was. So Naomi on Marcos Inaros' flagship. Okay, Marco Inaros. You need to start calling him Inaros. Amos, goddammit, come up with a nickname for this guy too. So on Inaros' flagship, Inaros finally decides to let Naomi out of her cell. Says, hey, I heard you haven't eaten in a couple of days. Come down here, get some food. They're eating Martian food. They hate it. Okay, so... Because it's not red kibble, and I really want to look up what red kibble actually is.
And I'm waiting for the Expanse cookbook. It's gonna happen. I want it to happen.
It's going to happen. It's going
I
to
want it to happen.
It's going to be some Cajun bullshit. You know
Dude,
that.
two recipes.
Lasagna.
Lasagna,
Lasagna and the red kibble.
red kibble. Yeah, that's gonna be two recipes. What we need Martian, Earther, and Belter recipes.
It's going to be a short cookbook, and it'll probably be how to make water from mushrooms as well. So
That's true.
Max's guide to how to keep food going in 0G.
yeah, they could definitely do a gardening book as well, and you guys will probably be the first ones to order that. You
Oh my
freaking nerds! These guys are such nerds.
It's true, we are. I'm honestly questioning getting the tattoos of the Razorback, like Icarus all the way up to the Razorback on my arm somewhere because I really like that thing.
Fine,
So
I'll start getting Belter tattoos on my neck too. Then you nerds. So
Hey, stop! I'm geek and I'm proud of it.
Well, because once again, like we said, because the show isn't. It's popular, but not that popular right now. In I guarantee 3 to 5 years,
it's building momentum. I think
everybody's going to be talking about it in 3 to 5 years. It's going to be huge. It's going to be like the middle of the middle of Firefly when it was gone for 5 or 6 years and people really got onto it. That's what's going to happen.
We can tell just by the views on these videos that we're making that this is starting to build some momentum. So
Yeah.
So anyways, so the significance is she's allowed to wander around the ship because Narcos, or why do I keep saying Narcos? That's another show on Netflix. Marco Inaros. Say that 50 times fast. I guarantee you'll come up with Narcos. So sue me, all right? So Marco Inaros lets Naomi wander around the ship because he's like, what is she going to do? She can't go anywhere. Which is true. She can't, but she's pissed, all right? And also, we start to see some issues where Philip, her son, is starting to show there's an attachment there. Okay, there's definitely more than what we saw was initially below the surface.
There's also attachments. I mean, there's fractures within that group.
Yes,
Because the big guy, I can't remember what his name is, but the big guy that wants to. I'm sorry.
I think his name is Sin, Cyn.
Yeah, him. He was. I love that character because he's just like, are you kidding? You're doing this wrong. This is guaranteed to backfire on you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the first one that gets hurt by it.
She has a history with him, and she basically lets him have it. Like, what, you think you're just, I'm on the ship now, and you think we're just going to go back to like the way things were before after all of this? Are you kidding me? You enabled this crazy lunatic with an Alexander complex.
Yeah. Because at some point, Sin calls her by her old name Knuckles, and she gets it kind of triggers her, and she's like, "Listen, don't do that. We're not there.
Mm-hmm.
We're never gonna be there. So just stop."
Used to be my homie, and I act like you don't know me. So that's pretty much where that goes. Also, she figures out that the ship that Holden is on, like I said, why Holden can't figure this out sooner is beyond me, because that's literally the first thing I thought after looking at goofball's face in there, like, see you when you come back. That was like the first clue right there. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know damn well that thing's booby trapped to hell. I mean, she was on that ship for a long time. I'm like, I wouldn't get on there. The first thing I would do is be scan that thing for bugs and traps and booby. I would not get on that ship.
You'd suit up and just vacuum out the air and just be like, "What's going on?"
If
here?
you had a friend that was a mechanic and he Benedict Arnold you, would you get in the car and drive down the street and hit the highway right away? I wouldn't. I'm just saying. So she figures out that the ship actually is booby trapped, and she manages to talk to Sin for a little while, just long enough to grab a big giant wrench, hit him on the back of the head, grab his wireless, and get just enough of a phone call into Holden saying, "Don't start up the damn ship."
Yeah, in like the nick of time.
Just in a convenient nick of time. So that was a little convenient, but hey, she got the message out. And by doing that, though, she kind of screwed herself because she winds up not only back in her cell, but also in isolation. Even before that happens, there's a scene where she gets into it with the other lady, and what's her name, Nick?
Caral? K-A-R-A-L. So Caral.
Caral is constantly trying to get into it with Naomi. Those two are going to fight at some point. There's going to be a bad fight.
Well, Caral seems like she's jealous of Naomi, and now that she's
she
Naomi,
feels
she's on
by her. Yeah.
Yeah, and now she's on Inaris' ship. She's like, "Oh, you think you're smarter?" She's like, "Yeah, of course I am, because I've done some shit. Like, look what I've done. You're the one, part of this thing. You haven't really done anything. You're just following some dude. I've done shit."
And this is all going on in the galley where Naomi actually is trying to get something to eat, and then she sits down, can't even finish her fucking vendor food, so.
Well, and the thing that kind of scared me is that Carl knows about Holden so well to the point it's like, oh yeah, we know your Earther boyfriend. He likes to drink coffee and save the universe. I'm just like, geez.
Maybe she wants a piece of that too, so. Could be,
Hey man,
you're out in space long enough, you probably get sick of the Belders after a while. So
it's gonna be the king.
Yeah, I mean, dude ain't ugly, so.
I think what that goes to is the propaganda that people have built around Holden as kind of he's not, he was an Earther, now he's out in the belt.
He has a crew that's diverse, because he has a Martian and conveniently a Martian and a Belter and another guy from Earth, and male and female, and also multiracial, multi-planet, everything just kind of it's the melting pot. It's the Rosinante, so.
And they're willing to take in, a bunch of other people.
He's had a lot of stowaways that he's given chances, so Peaches being one of them, even while she was a prisoner, she was allowed to work on the ship, under, and that's the other thing. Amos is kind of taking, kind of doing the same role that Naomi did with Amos, it's like he's kind of paying that forward with Peaches, so. But we don't see Peaches anymore in this episode. Naomi tries to get message out to Holden at the behest of being locked up, put back in her cell, and then put into, they put her in isolation so they can't even hear her through the glass anymore. So she's gone from being locked in a stateroom to being allowed to wander around the ship to being thrown in a cell, in isolation. Yeah. So she's in a bad spot. So.
Very true. Actually, I think the little Easter egg that happens in for her is that if you look at, she goes to a screen after she's taken to the galley. She looks at the screen to see what her what she can do, and if you look where it says access grants or whatever, it says doors and corners.
Oh, I missed that Easter.
It says, but it's really quick. You have to when I watched the second time, I got it.
Oh man, I missed that. I'm gonna have to watch it a third time now. But the only thing I missed too is that there was a brief moment where she grabbed a knife from the galley and she walks onto the bridge. Which, even if I was allowing a prisoner, not prisoner, to walk around on the ship, I would not let her come onto the bridge. That's a classic Star Trek mistake. They used to do that there too. They would just let anybody wander onto the bridge, and I'm like, I used to be in the Navy. You don't go on the bridge if you don't have no business there. You know what I mean? Like if you're not performing a function, ain't nobody allowed to casually just wander onto the bridge of anything. So I would have at least kept that locked off. But she actually has a knife up her sleeve, and I am thinking, I'm like, are you really the type of, because I've never seen Naomi just kill somebody in cold blood on this show ever.
Yeah, man, I was waiting for that shit too.
It
was
was a tense moment. Like it's like
Yeah.
she's creeping up on him. She's like, I want to talk to you. Michael, I need to talk to you. I'm like, you ain't gonna be no talking. I'm like, she looks like she's really gonna do it. And it's like I'm trying to
talking all right. It's just going to involve a whole lot of steel being shoved someplace that Marco ain't going to like.
I'm trying to figure out what's the lesser of two evils here? Like saving your son and becoming a murderer, or killing your ex-husband? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, that's true, because I mean, even if she kills him, he immediately becomes a martyr to them. So,
Yeah. So she doesn't finish it because Philip actually finds it, because he says not now and he's ignoring her. Philip comes in and grabs her. I don't know if he saw the knife or not. I couldn't really tell. I watched it twice. I wasn't sure if he knows that she had a knife or not. But
he assumed that she had fell intent.
Okay.
And then when she went and whacked the big guy over the head,
Yes.
Yeah.
that kind of, she, and I'm going to say this, for someone as smart as Naomi is, she's not running on logic right now. She's running on pure emotion, and it's quite an interesting juxtaposition, because normally she is the anchor for
the whole crew. Yeah.
for the whole crew.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, she is literally rudderless and frightened and
acting on instinct. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that really shows true in this episode, because we're seeing that with Holden, like you said, Adam. He wants to go on the ship, even though that woman, we're working the ship the whole time. He wants to go and go hunt this dude down. But because he's so gung ho, he doesn't have Naomi there to be like, yo, think about this. He almost kills himself and kills other people. Same thing with Naomi, like whacking the dude with the wrench only once, and taking the thing and making it and taking a message, and her being very emotional about everything.
We've gone five episodes of this show where the crew has been split up, and we're seeing that this crew needs to get back together as soon as possible.
Well, what's also interesting is the nuts chick. She knew about the message. She had to have known, and that's why she said what she said about, when they were talking, they were interrogating her, and then they just stopped.
Yeah,
because he hadn't gotten that message yet.
That's true, and I think she was hesitant because it seemed like she wanted to tell Holden about it.
Yeah, because she's about to walk out of the room, and she's like, "Wait," and he's like, "What?" And she's just like, "See you when you get back."
But I think her hesitation was because she knew that he was going to take other belters from the station there, and she didn't want them to die. But I think because of that, she's like, screw it. The plan needs to go in motion regardless. And if they need to die, they're going to die. And that's kind of, I think, what I think her mindset was in that moment.
Vera Juarez, thank you for hopping into the chat. We're not going to start over. I'm sorry. You'll have to catch us on the playback. We're too far into this now. So, but yeah, we see some really important moments on the ship, because we see Philip definitely, because he says, I saved your life. He did not have to say that to her. So, and she kind of pauses for a second, like, you kind of get that feeling that there's going to be some changes of heart, going on at some point, either with Philip or with the big guy.
Yeah,
they're alluding to that. You know what I mean? Otherwise, they would not show us those scenes. Those scenes would not even be significant. So
true.
So that's going on, and then the last piece that we get is we finally go back to Bobby Draper and Alex, who have stalked down part of Inaros's fleet. And right,
yeah, it is. It's a fleet they've been following from Mars into, I guess, the belt, whatever, into the inner belt.
It was a shuttle run with escort.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
So they're trying to chart the ships and get the information back to Christian. And as they're doing this, they're scanning the ships and compiling the data. One of them gives chase.
Well, they figure out that the weapons transfer was not in the original ship. It was the destroyers, the Martian destroyers that were their escort. So,
Yeah.
Then they figured out that, oh, wait, we can burn harder than them. And then the chase began with the Razorback, with Bobby Draper and
because the Razorback is basically a giant flying jet ski in space, so it can go faster than the big frigate ships.
That's true. But also the thing is that if I don't know, once again, I haven't read this book. I don't know what's happening, but to me, it's strange. Like, you have these giant Martian destroyers. I mean, they can be seen, can't they? Like, they're not covered in stealth stuff. It seems like, anyways. So.
Well,
And once again, I don't know what.
Well, we didn't see any crew either, so
Yeah.
it could also be a deterrent. I was a little confused at the end there too.
Yeah,
like
but
I've
I'm
seen
sure
it twice.
I'm sure it'll come together.
But Bobby and Alex had a conversation about it, that it was Marcos buying a Navy. For
Got
the
you,
belt.
because okay.
And I'm sorry, Nick, please.
So what you're saying is that he's buying these ships to add to his navy. He's not going to use them right now. He's going to use them in the future. Okay.
What he's doing is he's buying insurance for his revolution, because that's what historically, that's what every good revolution has to have, is bigger guns than, because once you can let's look at the Russian Revolution. The Reds and the Whites fought each other for years, and it wasn't until the Reds got a hold of the army, and got them wrestled down and fighting behind with them, that they really got to, the momentum to take over, and create the Soviet Union. So that's the comparison is there, that Marcos is doing a revolution, but he has to have, there's an old saying in the Middle East, there's nothing better than a smoking 357 in your hand to keep the peace. And that's literally what's going on with Marcos, is he's building that 357 out of the proto-molecule samples, and he's buying Martian stealth tech and flat out Martian technology. He may not like them, but he knows who builds the best tech, and he's going after it as hard as he can to help create his own his revolution. Pardon me.
There was also a scene I missed too, and I just want to bring it up before it's too late and I forget about it again. There was another scene on the ship too, on Marco's ship, where he's talking to Philip alone, and Philip looks at Marco and he says, "You're disappointed with me, aren't you?" And he kind of grabs his head real hard, puts him in a headlock, and he's like, "Why did you bring her on this ship? It's like, do you want to? Are you trying to save her? And I think the whole significance of that scene is that Marco doesn't give a fuck about Naomi. It's actually Philip that probably gives a fuck. You know what I mean?
Because I mean, he's I think he's one of those things where he's heard the story from his dad. He's heard his dad's side a lot the whole time.
Yeah.
And now that his mom is there, and he can basically take her and not really do whatever, but can take her and listen to her and have her on the ship and everything, and she's kind of trapped there, that he can hopefully ask questions and figure out what's happening and maybe hear her side of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but it seems like, I don't know. There may be something in the next episode where we see he goes into her cell and asks her, why did you leave, and she really opens up and tells him the whole story about it. But we'll see.
I like the pacing of this show, but I think this episode, especially compared to last week, could have had some more. Could have went a little bit farther. And maybe, it feels like it's kind of slowing down a little bit. I think it's necessary for a season pacing to be the way that it is. But after last week, where you're just like, oh shit, there wasn't quite as many oh shits in this one. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
So-
That's true.
But it did kind of sandwich cliffhangers.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Because
did.
you don't know what has happened to Alex and Bobby.
Hmm.
Yeah, they got that emergency jettison of the fusion core, of the Razorback.
That's the other thing I was getting to too. Is that after they give chase, their last ditch effort was to emergency eject the core. Something hits that core, it explodes, and then the momentum from that explosion just knocks the Razorback out like a wiffle ball. You know what I mean?
Well, and to be, I think I remember watching the after show on YouTube from these guys, and the way they went into like crazy scientific detail about that is like they didn't eject their engine. They just ejected the plasma that's created to keep their engine going. So that plasma was ejected into that giant sphere that you saw to explode. I mean, for the rocket to hit it and explode so that they could get away.
It's a move I've seen done in Star Trek like recently. I watched an episode I think last night where they dumped a core, and I'm like, oh, that they did that in the Roz, in the Expanse as well. I'm like,
Well, I mean,
I
yeah,
have to look up core dumping so that I understand exactly what that is.
yeah, Star Trek's really good at core dumping.
Yeah, the Star Trek Voyager is good at core dumping, but yeah, so that's the last scene that you see before the credits is that. So, yeah, just like I said, this is a 3-parter. No Chris Jen. Probably the most significant of this episode is we get some backstory on Naomi, and we get some insight between Philip and Marco. So.
Hey, Adam, Bobby tried to contact her, and initially they were being jammed, and then they figured out that there was absolutely no signal to Luna. And that was also part of the cliffhanger was what's happened on Luna where they don't have reception, they don't have a signal, all of this. That was one of the more subtle things that they did in this episode was wait, it's not just the fact that it's a cliffhanger with the Razorback, it's a cliffhanger of where's Chris John?
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't want to see her and see what was going on with that too. But I mean, it's fine. We'll get to the next episode. No big deal. But because like, and as fast as the Razorback was going, and you could see the blood coming out of their noses and their faces were flattening and everything. They were trying to run hard.
They juiced him
man.
twice, so they were going. This was a 2-juice run, Nick. 2 juices.
2 juices.
2 juices. That's never been seen before.
2 juices.
Vera Juarez says the Belters had 9 ships, including the heavy frigate escorts. Some real heavy metal.
Whew. Damn, man! I didn't realize they rolled like that. And I love, it's really shitty because like Mars has the best technology, but they're selling it to whoever's got the money, who's ever got the script, I guess is what it is.
And that's the thing, as you said, is they got the best stuff. So if you got the Martian ships, and I think.
Well, and that's also something that's true because even the UNN admits that, but something that they also say is that. Whenever there was war, or there was almost war or something between like enemy station, whenever that went down, they said, the Martians have better ships, but we have more of them.
It is an old quote from Joseph Stalin. Quantity has a quality all its own.
It's true. So I mean,
they make really nice stuff. I mean, look at this beautiful ship behind me, guys. I mean, wow. Look at this stuff.
That better be legitimate salvage. Goddammit.
It's all been cleared. All right.
Okay.
It's all been taken care of. Me and Chris Jen are like this, So.
Don't let her husband find out.
So if we don't have any other questions, I think what we're going to do is just get around to scores and then wrap this one up. Like I said, there wasn't quite as much going on in this episode. I'll be that guy and I'll go first.
Okay.
I would probably give this one. Let me take down this logo here so that's not in everybody's way. But this one, especially compared to last, like I said, I'm really digging this season, but compared to last week, and if you guys are new to my channel, I do a cheese curd rating scale 1 to 5. 1 being Limburger, 2 being government, 3 being Velveeta, 4 being provolone, because nothing ever gets that. So then, and then 5 being smoked Gouda as being the best. This one, especially compared to last week, I'd have to say this one is a 4 out of 5 for me. A little bit slower. It's important. That's kind of one of the things I miss about watching the season in a marathon form. Is a season like an episode like this, you would probably just be waiting for the next one to see what happens. But this one kind of has to slow down the speed a little bit, because that was one of my gripes about season 2, is that everything happens so fast that you can't really consume all of it. It's a lot to digest. You have to watch it a couple of times. But I still like the pacing of the show. The acting is really good. The writing is incredible on this. But yeah, compared to last week, 4 to 5, not bad. But compared to last week, that's a pretty tall, expectations to get to. 4 out of episode 4 was just holy shit. You know what I mean? So not quite as many holy shits this time around, but still a good solid show. I can't recommend it enough. Nick, you want to go next, buddy?
Yeah, man, I'll go next. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna do 4 out of 5 as well. But I mean, once again, that's like, it's not saying it's less than, but I mean, yeah, that's not as fast paced as the last one, as we didn't get as many cliffhangers and stuff. But still, it was needed to perpetuate the story. I'm glad we got more Amos, because I always love Amos. I think he's a wonderful character, and we need more about him.
Becoming less of a B character and more of an A character.
Yeah, definitely. So I was glad to see him do his own story and him getting out. Dealing, I think we got the least of Holden this time, but I was fond of that, because we got more of Naomi and her emotional journey with being in the ship, and her son and her husband and things like that, and that whole thing she's dealing with. We still have more emotional stuff with Alex and Bobby Draper dealing with Alex still coming to terms with Mars being funding the belt and helping the belt, and Bobby just being like, get over it, we need to get shit done. So more things needed to happen, and especially with those two, man. I hope next episode is something good for them. But yeah, I mean, it should be more of like a 4.9 as opposed to a 4. Like, that's the way I see it. So, like, it's a little.
Once you start getting into the 4 points, everything just starts getting confusing. So
I agree.
Flair, what'd you think of this one, bud?
I'm gonna agree with all of you that it is a 4. It is not. I mean, it's a building. As I'll make this comparison, it's not one of the animes that it's a fluff show, as basically a story about nothing, because it does progress multiple lines of the story, which I really liked. You talked about the interplay between Alex and Bobby, and the other interplays. I like the interplay between Amos and Peaches.
Yeah,
I really think that that's going someplace.
There's going to be a big team up there for sure.
And what I like about it is he treats her as an equal.
Yeah.
And so she respects him, he respects her. I think that is going to be a team up of equals that is going to rock the show, because it really makes a very strong pairing. Like when Naomi and Holden are together, they're a very strong couple that work well together. Or who's the gal that we started off with? Kara Gee's character.
Drummer,
and whoever she's boffing at the moment, because she's just such a goddamn badass.
I almost would dare I say there might be like a relationship potential. I hate doing this because so many TV shows do this, and I hate it. This if there's a male and a female, like, they have to get together. But the reason I'm saying this is Peaches has killed people. So has Amos. Amos and Naomi were never compatible. Okay, that was more of a brother sister thing. Even though he said, "Oh, I totally nail her if she let me," because that's Amos. He's gonna say that. But there is definitely a connection with him and Peaches for sure. All right, for sure. So whether it'll be like another brother sister type relationship remains to be seen. But one thing for sure, whether they get together or not, the two of them together are going to be dangerous. All right, especially if she starts getting her mod powers back. Oh my God, So
I wonder if she'll ever help Amos get modded a little bit. If Amos might want to get a little stronger, just a little bit, just a little bit.
Wow.
I don't think that suits Amos. I think he's too much into, he knows who he is, he knows what he is, and he doesn't need that to progress as a person. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
That's what I've always really liked about him and his character is that he's confident in himself. He knows his limitations, and he knows he's not a moralistic person.
Yeah.
That he could look at you and shoot you in the same thought. Just go, you know what, fuck it, poof, bye bye.
Correct.
And that is, that's a strength in and of itself. And it's one of the things I've always liked about that character specifically. And he has a great tie to someone who he deems morally better than him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's going to be an interesting. It may go this way. I'm not sure, but it's a very interesting thought process that Mao's daughter has she's seeking a better moral compass, and she's latching on to Amos.
No, that's not who you want for your moral compass.
But wait a second. Amos always picks someone better than him.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
I think that's where the interesting part of this thought process, this string logic, if you'll take that term, is that they will both start looking to either Holden or somebody, because Amos has really evolved to be Holden's protector.
I do like that Amos is more of a star in this season. That's a big plus for sure. Like I feel like I get him more. You know what I mean? I think that's something that needed to happen. But that's really all we got for this one. Those are our scores. I don't have a lot of announcements other than we'll see you this time next week on the 6th, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for episode 6, Tribes. That's what it's called. Like I said, we're reviewing these the day that they come out. So I am going to announce that since we're almost done with this season of The Expanse, the next show that we're going to move on to is The Orville. So I don't know exactly how we're going to break that down yet and how we're going to review it, but it's going to happen because that's another show that we all love on this channel, and we want to tell you about it because it is about 85% Star Trek. So
and about 15% weed.
It's 15% Seth MacFarlane and weed.
110% Seth MacFarlane.
Oh yeah. He's given it his all, but it's a wonderful show, and it's one of those weird cascading effects where I watched both seasons of The Orville, and it made me miss those old Star Trek stories. How each week was one story that had a beginning and a middle and an end, and it made me want to go and watch more of those. And so I went back and watched some of the Star Trek shows that I hadn't seen before because I missed them so much. And a lot of those shows I never watched. I never watched all of Deep Space Nine. I loved it. I'm watching Voyager now. One good season, one bad season, but the one that I'm on right now is pretty damn good, so I'm digging that as well. But yeah, we'll definitely be covering the Orville, so we're not going to just disappear once the Expanse goes on, that season break. We'll be doing other shows on this channel. So
yep,
it's fun talking about TV shows, isn't it?
Oh yeah, man. definitely.
Yeah, we could easily get out here and talk about the Mandalorian and the Wonder Woman, but you got plenty of other channels for that. You don't need that shit from us, do you? Yeah, if you do, leave a comment down below. If not, we're just going to move past that and stick with this for now. But after the holidays, we'll be back with our watch and review, and maybe I'll have some more single release videos as well. So I want to thank you guys for joining the chat tonight, and make sure you enjoy your holiday this weekend. Don't get too drunk. You guys got any great plans for the holidays?
Yeah, I'm going to go see some friends tomorrow and hang out with them and play tabletop games and drink. So
that sounds like a great idea. I'm going to be doing some family stuff tomorrow. We usually don't do anything on New Year's, but we decided this year that we're going to do that. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. We're picking up a lot of momentum here, and make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I know all of us YouTubers say that all the time, but it really does mean a lot to us. It helps with the algorithm. It helps push those videos up to the top of the list so that more people watch them. So we appreciate all that you do, and we're glad that you're digging the content as much as we dig talking about it. So on behalf of the Raiders of the Lost Flicks, you guys have yourselves a fantastic weekend, and we are out of here. Peace.